All right, let's talk pressure. We're talking kickers. You got to talk pressure now.
All right.
Who do we see being under the most pressure in 2025 to succeed? And it has to start with Drake May.
No, it doesn't have to.
Yes. Every conversation with the Patriots' success starts and ends with Drake May.
Is he under more pressure than Mike Vrabel?
Yes.
I don't know if I agree.
He's got the offensive coordinator now.
I don't know if I agree.
Doesn't have the built-up offensive line, though.
He's in his second year, though. He's got a built-in. I don't want to use the word excuse because it sounds like I'm hating on Drake May.
He's got a longer leash.
Who?
I think Mike
Drake?
Vrabel has a longer leash.
Oh, you think Vrabel
too.
has a long? Okay, that's where. There it is. We found it. I disagree. Look, bro. All right, let me give my take.
Go ahead.
And then you balance it out. I don't think there's ever a world now, present day NFL, where a coach has a longer leash than the quarterback. I actually think the opposite of you. I think, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is just, we're just bantering. If anything, I'm trying to force a debate with you here. But I see a world in which year 2 of Drake May, expectations are there. To your point, pressure's there.
Yeah.
And let's just, for the sake of this combo, say he regresses.
Whoa.
It didn't work with McDaniels. It was clunky with Stephon Diggs. It couldn't get the running game going. Defense was solid, but the offense sort of stagnated, and Drake May regressed a bit.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think the blame will be on Drake May's feet right away. Maybe over time it could be.
Yeah.
It could shift. I think immediately it goes to McDaniels, Vrabel, what's going on, and that falls on Vrabel as the top guy.
Yeah.
Not saying Vrabel's going to get run out of town or anything stupid, but I think people could say, well, now all of a sudden you start hearing, well, at the end in Tennessee it wasn't great. Well, yeah. I just wonder if Vrabel, I don't think pressure necessarily is on either, like as in you're going to lose your job. No one's going to say Drake May in year 3 shouldn't be the starter.
Yeah.
No one's going to say fire Vrabel after 1. But I think, especially in this town, I think it could turn on Vrabel faster than Drake May. We've seen in this league, coaches get fired. Mm-hmm. You keep the quarterback, even if they're playing like trash, and you bring in a new coach to resurrect the quarterback. That happens that's why I said present day.
Okay.
So I actually think Mike Vrabel is under more pressure than Drake May to at least establish a culture and get more wins than 3 or 4.
They got to show vast improvement, too.
Who's they? The team.
The Patriots.
Yeah.
And this is where I'll hear you out. I think it's a great case you make. Mike Vrabel didn't just come in as a head coach. He didn't just pick the coaching staff. He picked the ingredients.
Right.
He's picked every player.
Right.
All the free agency has been Vrabel guys. The entire draft has been free agency guys. If the offensive line doesn't work and Will Campbell doesn't work out, Mike Vrabel drafted him.
Yes.
Morgan Moses doesn't make it through and they don't have a viable option as a right tackle. Mike Vrabel decided to bring in Morgan Moses. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the free agency is tough. But Carlton Davis, if he doesn't stay healthy and is consistent and a good player,
good point,
that's Vrabel
man.
and Terrell Williams.
That's a great point.
Robert Spillane, same thing. That's Mike Vrabel. These draft picks, Kyle Williams, that's Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to fall on.
Yeah.
He's on more pressure right now, Vrabel, for sure.
So you do think Vrabel.
Right now.
I also think
when you think of everything.
Yeah. It's all encompassing.
And they're both under pressure. We are doing who's under the most pressure. They're both under it.
They're both everyone's under pressure, but I think I think 1 and 2 or 1A, 1B, if you want to go there, George.
Yeah.
I just think Vrabel's a guy. By the way, there is an elephant in the room here as it pertains to Mike Vrabel. He's a former Patriot, and he won. He's part of the dynasty. Like, that matters to this fan base, to us, in the media, or the loudmouths. Bro, you know the standard. You know where they need to get to.
Yeah.
You have to be the steward. You have to be the shepherd to get us there. So if this team regresses in any way or is stagnant and has the same record and it kind of looks the same, that's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. That's not a Drake May problem, even if he plays like Shaq. It's going to come back to the coaching staff. I think Vrabel and his staff has more pressure than Drake.
Also, if Drake May doesn't play well, you have Josh McDaniels now. It's no more AVP. You
That's
have
right.
this receiving room. He's under more pressure now,
That's
too.
right.
There's pressure on all of them. I think it all starts and ends with Drake May, though, just because it comes with the quarterback position. But it also starts and ends with Mike Vrabel, too. Drake May has to do this. Mike Vrabel has to do this.
Yep.
Another one that's under pressure, I mean, simply put, and Mike Vrabel said it right up front before they even got to the draft, Will Campbell.
Yeah.
Can you work out at left tackle?
Right.
Point blank period. Can you be average? And if he can't work out at all, and then he gets kicked into left guard, and they don't have an answer at left tackle, well, what's wrong? Why
Right.
can't he do that?
Right.
That pressure is real. Now, he's played in pressure cookers at LSU.
Yeah.
Number 7. Again, I'll say it time and time again. He was on top 25 ranked teams, protecting Jaden Daniels, protecting Garrett Nussmeier, now protecting Drake May. There's a lot of pressure around Will Campbell, though. Not just to pan out as a number 4 overall pick,
Yeah.
but to work out on the offensive line and especially at left tackle. Vrabel said a point blank period is Will Campbell. He said he is our left tackle right now. They're going into camp with him to be the starting left tackle. And again, that goes back on the pressure on Mike Vrabel. You decided to take a guy with less than measurables, a lot of heart, good athleticism. There's a lot of pressure on Will Campbell.
Okay, I'm keeping tally here. Let's see if we're in lockstep, because I agree with you. Will Campbell's under a tremendous amount of pressure, and it's almost I hate to make excuses for people, but I almost think it's unfair, some of the expectations being heaped on this guy, some of the pressure being heaped on him. Here's why. He's really more of a natural fit at guard. Everyone can admit that, okay? But you're taking him to put him in a position of need for you, making him play left tackle in the NFL, okay? We saw him do it in college, but this is a different level.
Different.
So, by the way, you look at past drafts. I mean, hell, just go one back. Joe Alt, who looks like the real deal, who's going to be at his position for 10-plus years, he went in the draft before you, around the same place, right? Selection. So now you have Will Campbell, who doesn't quite literally measure up to that physically, George, I'm saying. And you're going to put him in that position. It feels very – I'm not saying you're setting him up to fail, but you are putting a ton of pressure on that kid, a ton. So we have Vrabel and staff 1, Drake May 2 in terms of our pressure power rankings, we'll call them. Will Campbell 3. You with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the next two. This is what makes it interesting. Go with the young receivers.
The whole core. Oh, just the youngins?
I go mainly
Or the receiving core?
I go mainly on Jalen Polk.
Oh, you're going out. You're calling out names.
You're
Jalen Polk?
You're a second-round pick. Javon Baker's a 6th-rounder. Kayshon Boutte fell, and yeah, he was good, but the pressure to perform again, and if he doesn't, he'll get outplayed by Mac Hollins, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Williams, Pop Douglas, guys that are just sheerly better than him. And he's already kind of on the outs and outs with the team, too. Jalen Polk's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You have that second round. You were also picked ahead of, or picked over more of, Ladd McConkey.
Right.
Because the Patriots could have gotten Ladd. They decided to move back, pass on him, and they end up with Jalen Polk.
Right.
That's the Patriots moving back and getting their guys, what they're saying, too. Yeah. Xavier Legette went right around the same range. Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, guys that were instant impact players. And Jalen Polk was such a disappointment. And he still would have his saying, too. I have the best hands in the league, all this. He would talk like a wide receiver. I like that confidence. Maybe a little arrogance there, but I like that confidence. He's under a lot of pressure. I don't see it with Javon Baker. It's just, if he doesn't work out, but maybe that's for you and I of, we just look at him and go, yeah, he's a good athlete, but he was a late draft pick for a reason.
Yeah, no, that's
so I wouldn't
fair.
be shocked if he doesn't pan out. Kayshon Boutte, I just know he's not that great, but there's a pressure of the fans going, he showed the flashes. He was a downfield guy. Why doesn't it work out now?
Let me weigh in on Polk.
Yeah.
Just to play devil's advocate, because we've been in lockstep, so I want to stay there. Can I push back with a Stephon Diggs? I mean, listen, you were paid like the number 1, and you are the number 1 by default because of the lack of talent in the room. You're coming off an injury. You have a history of diva-like behavior.
Yeah.
Now you're older. You're more mature, we think. You're paid like the man. You're coming off an injury, and we're asking you to lead the troops. Feels like pressure to me. Is Stephon Diggs under more pressure than Jalen Polk in your mind? Because Polk didn't give you anything. So some of me's like, yeah, he didn't live up to expectations, which is what you really laid out. But also, he didn't give you Shaq. So it's like, what kind of pressure is there? You could just give me nothing again. And it's like, all right, well, that's par for the course. I just wonder I almost feel like Stephon Diggs is under more pressure. Is that fair, or am I overreaching?
He is. They gave him a lot of money up front.
More pressure?
He is. Stephon Diggs is under more pressure because that's a receiver they brought in to change the receiving room.
Right.
Mac Hollins is a wide receiver 4.
Yes.
They signed Stephon Diggs to a lot of money, and they're saying we believe in his knee and his ability and him as a leader.
Yes.
But Jalen Polk's under a lot of pressure. I would put Stephon Diggs, I guess, right below the Will Campbell, and I'm putting Jalen Polk right below him.
Okay.
You're a second-round pick. Javon Baker was a 4th-round pick.
Yeah.
But still, and he had just one catch.
All right.
But he also has that that was a different draft, different regime.
Yeah.
Jalen Polk, nonetheless, was good in college, really good in college. Does not make sense what we saw as a rookie. Mm-hmm. Still think he has that. He's under pressure. Then what about this? What about Ramondre Stevenson?
Bro,
6 fumbles last season.
I might put him above.
He's got 2 years left of real money on his deal. Yeah. He got an extension. He's a good player. He's always shown the flashes, though.
Yeah, we might have to move him up on the list,
A lot of fumbles is bad.
A lot of fumbles. By the way, you want to talk about pressure?
Travion Henderson.
A lot of these cats that we've talked about don't have guys behind them, like waiting for their moment. Ramondre Stevenson does. Because Henderson is looking at this like, I could become the bell cow around here if I ball out and I protect the football and I don't put it on the grass. Ramondre's under a tremendous – and you said it. He's shown flashes, right, George? Well, now you don't have that. You don't have that luxury anymore. You can't show flashes anymore. You gotta show up, or else you may be riding the pine.
Can't put the ball on the floor.
That's pressure.
That is. And I think it's in the simplest thing, too. And Mike Vrabel's not the type of head coach that messes around and benches him for 3 plays and puts him in.
Hell no. You're done.
For a game longer.
You
done. Go to the bench. Exactly.
That's right.
And again, through free agency, maybe they sign some other running backs. And they're not like the money's there, but they have the cap space where they can eat that money as they build this culture out and build this roster out overall. I think he's under pressure. I like your call. I like your correction on me, but I go Mike Vrabel 1.
Yeah.
Drake May 2. I still go Will Campbell 3.
Me too.
You're the 4th overall pick.
I'm with you.
At 4,
Diggs or Ramondre?
I'll go Stephon Diggs at 4.
Agreed.
Again, big money. And like you're the upgrade of the wide receiving room because pretty much everything's the same. It's
all eyes on you. Yep.
Kyle Williams is in there. Then I would go Ramondre
I'd go
Stevenson.
Ramondre over Polk. I agree.
Then I would go Jalen Polk.
Yep.
There's still a good amount of pressure under Kyle Williams, too.
Yeah, but he's still, again, I always go to like
pick.
Excuseville.
Yeah.
Like he's a rook,
Young,
right?
he has that space.
Right. Yeah, I like this list.
If we have Vrabel number 1, what's the acceptable record for this team?
Where no one's questioning him at all?
How many wins?
Would they win 4 last season?
Last 2 years.
I mean, if you get me to 7-10, I like the direction we're headed in. You give me a 5-win season, I'm not happy. You give me 6 wins, I could probably find a game here or there to make sense of it. You get me to 7-10 or better, I'm feeling really good about the future and the present.
You get me 6 wins, but again, this team looks respectable.
Yes.
Because it was that bad. You're competing. Maybe just moving by the margins. Yeah. There is that excuse of injuries.
You're
Offensive
in the same
line
range.
still matters.
6-7 wins, right?
6 wins.
Yeah.
But the team, the total, it could be 10 wins. If they're getting lucky and winning on kick sixes they're returning.
Sure.
And dumb flags. It has to look like good football. So to me, it's more the performance on the field. That's a defense showing up, being top 5, top 10.
Sure.
That's an offensive line that's tied together. And that's a quarterback taking a step forward, but also having support around him.
Yep.
To me, it's more the wins, losses with Vrabel. It's actual improvement of the actual football product.
Mm-hmm.